United States. It might be a while before final certification, but, for all intents and purposes, it appears Donald Trump will be the next president of the United States, and something absolutely must be said. Democrats, you did this. They say presidents are selected, not elected, but the American populace has apparently had enough. Enough of blatant corruption, despicable collusion, shameless hubris, enough of the exact characteristics the Hillary Clinton establishment represents. Enough, said hordes of millennials, who balked at a repeat Obama administration, and flocked to a democratic socialist, of all things, but an obstinate democratic establishment would have none of it, choosing instead to pull the wool over its own eyes and ears to drown out the rancorous hum of dissent. Willfully insulated from this justifiable opprobrium, the neoliberal left rammed through its chosen darling, even flagrantly rigging debates and corrupting whatever integrity corporate media had left, desperately endeavoring to sugarcoat the nauseatingly unpalatable. But no one is capable of legerdemain of that magnitude, and dogged recalcitrance against reality expectedly wasn't soon rewarded. Now we're faced with the likelihood of a racist, misogynist, xenophobe at the helm of this still sinking ship, and it's time the whole of the democratic, neoliberal left examine its myriad, hapless mistakes, and own up to its audacious pretension, self-serving arrogance, and, above all, disdain for a sizable swath of the American public. Trump did not happen by accident. George Cicariello Maher pointedly explains for U.S. Uncut, Clintonite liberals have been willfully ignorant, managing to both write poor whites off as racist deplorables while simultaneously underestimating their potential to swing to the right. Neglecting poor whites, Clintonism holds Black and Latino Americans hostage, offering no solution to police murder and promising more deportations to boot. Clinton and Obamadoms literally ignored the roots of now systemic racism in failing to reform the exact institutions actively propping it up. But that isn't the only major fault line cleaving longtime loyalists from the liberal flock. Obamacare has wholly failed what little remains of the middle class. Common Core infuriated parents and students from every strata. NAFTA evaporated jobs and the triple threat of the Trans-Pacific Partnership (TPP), Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership (TIP), and the Trade and Services Agreement (TISA), as laudably exposed by WikiLeaks, will only worsen that loss. Americans are sick to death of being exploited, manipulated, and worn down, and Hillary Clinton gave every indication of continuing the same. One person, however, cannot be held responsible for this train wreck of failed policy, but Democrats' failure to read public malcontent in predicting a repeat of this in Clinton is precisely why Trump may indeed take over the White House come January. Brace yourself for the coming blame game, as the arrogant rarely admit fault, much less defeat, and taking responsibility for this shit show, and resultant presumptive President Trump, won't be a pill facilely swallowed by the neoliberal left without copious quantities of honey and hastily pointing fingers. Doubtless, the Clinton camp will first excoriate third-party voters, move on to Bernie Sanders and perhaps his supporters, rail about WikiLeaks and Julian Assange, and verbally crucify FBI Director James Comey for telling Congress publicly about the Bureau's reopened investigation, despite its laughably fast conclusion 8 days later. Hell, if old habits die hard, don't be surprised if Russia is thrown in the mix. This, while voting Democrats endure the near-literal shock of a grab-them-by-the-pussy president and parse grave questions about a policy-waffling non-politician whose qualifications extend only to blustery, xenophobic rants and not being Hillary Clinton. America, like it or not, this is what we deserve, for decades upon decades of lesser evilism. For allowing constitutional protections of every stripe to slowly erode. For not self-informing on candidates in every level of government. For accepting failed policy and corrupt politicians as that's just how it is. For seeking security from a top-heavy big government against non-existent outside threats. For not demanding a halt to wars of hegemony and then not taking responsibility for the terrified refugees they create. for buying the soured pomposity of American exceptionalism, and, most of all, for letting the psychopaths run the asylum. In decades of absurd futility, we allowed government to run amok, and turned to government to solve the resultant chaos it created. How's that working out? Here's a hint: it won't necessarily end well, unless we all own our part in this mess. Considering the entire planet just witnessed the United States elect a reality TV host as president, it's probably time we stop fighting each other and fix this, not by denigrating Trump's lack of qualifications or credibility, or painting a portent of doom for this situation, but through substantive moves to solve multitudinous problems years of apathy created. But none of that can occur until those deserving of actual blame humble themselves enough to see the errors, take an honest, unabashed look in the mirror, and acknowledge Americans might just be stronger than they thought. After all, we can only stomach so much. For now, we're all forced to look to the future while standing on trembling ground, and as Donald Trump putatively winning the election proves, anything can happen. Read more at http://thefreethoughtproject.com/neoliberal-democratic-trump-victory/#XSWYCU2S2ZT0 /99